Alright guys, hello. This time we're going to finish up the main storyline. I've been really absolutely terrible about placing all the ashes from the Lords of Cinders at their thrones, so I figured it would be a good time to just show everybody how to do that. I figure most of you already know, but for anybody who's new, it can be really easy to forget. They're I believe, a key item. If you go in here, they'll be on this top row. They all have really interesting stuff written about them if you read each one, but they essentially unlock an area that essentially just teleports you to this area, and there's a couple bonfires, but what we're really trying to get at is the main boss at the end. If all goes well, we'll collect his soul, and we'll move on to just, something more open-ended. I figured I'd try out to see if I could get the chat to work properly on a separate device so I can read it from there. And then that way the video itself will be a lot easier to watch. I figure it can be a little bit annoying to have this chat in the way. I mean, I guess it kind of compresses the video in such a way where it looks better, but I just feel like it's easier to watch, more enjoyable to watch, more enjoyable to play if I just have it full screen. So I'm going to try this out. Here we go. So really all you have to do is you go down to the bonfire, and you make sure, well, at least this is what I always do. I make sure in my storage box that I have everything that I'm going to need for the boss fight, and seeing as though, all my normal stuff is on, you can pretty much move on from there. You're going to want to make sure that you give anything to the Firekeeper that you're needing to do to complete your quest lines in such a way. What I'm essentially trying to say is these two items here. These are questline items. You can give one to her for one ending and one to her for another ending. So usually before, at least with my other characters, before I place the ashes, I like to check to see what I have done. So this is, we'll check to see. I know Yoel's dead, but check to see if she's here. Didn't do the Henri quest line, actually.
Our lord and liege, 'twas the soul of my sister, Elfrida. A poor wench turned to ash, who would abandon Londor. If thou wouldst, let it nourish thy lordship, and in return do her one small kindness. Remember those who stayed by her to the end, in the shadows cast by fire. And lastly, my lord, take up thy rightful mantle of usurper.
So that statement is both about me having, or she wants me to kill Freed, which I already did that. So that having that out of the way, she's basically just telling me to usurp the flame. So that it could be done because I do have that one key item that I could give to the Firekeeper that would allow me to get that ending. I have already got that ending. The other ending I haven't got, but I'm trying to do that one with a different character, so it doesn't really matter one way or the other to me. I'm sort of just all set for now. I mean, I don't really have souls to buy anything from her, even if I wanted to, so...
Be safe.
For now, I'm just going to kind of move on to what the ultimate goal was, which was to get to that boss. And in order to do that, we do have to place the ashes, and it's really simple to actually do that.
Welcome, host.
So with this character, it doesn't really matter one way or the other. But, I usually give the eyes. This time, I'm going to give the soul.
Ashen One, this is much like what lies within me. Then let it find its own place within my bosom. She will understand. We are both Firekeepers after all.
So that basically gets rid of hollowing. Again, that doesn't really matter one way or the other to me. It's just a visual. Sometimes being hollow is kind of fun, looking like a piece of beef jerky. But more or less, not really important.
Me, sister. May the flames guide thy way.
It'd be funny if I gave her both of them. I wonder what that would do.
Ashen One, may the flames guide thee.
Alright, so basically move on up here. And at each one of these thrones, you can usually drop down to the front, and you can offer the Cinders of the Lord. It'll tell you, you know, which one has left your inventory. If you check, you get a nice visual. The one thing that I wish they did do is have stairs that led back up. So each time you place, you have to kind of hop back down. Doesn't really do much damage, so it's not worth switching to the cat ring. It's just preposterous to even mention that, really. Could do it for fun to practice if you wanted to. So yeah, you just want to go around to each throne, repeat the process until there are no more Cinders of the Lord in your inventory, or specifically in your key item inventory slots. Really interesting how all the visuals are representative of how each one of them was at one point. He's the only one that's actually here. Perplexing. Do I have to hop down? And it's just really funny that throughout this whole process,
and pillage all you like.
He just wants me to kill everything.
And if you grow,
haven't finished that quest line yet. I think you can do that one after this. I don't think it's really contingent upon whether or not you finished it, but we'll see a really strange sight having done that. I'll go back up just so that we can look at all the what it looks like now with all the cinders in the chairs rather. I mean, it's easy to miss if you're not looking for it, but they're all visually there. But we now have something really strange happening that doesn't usually happen, or we haven't seen happen at Firelink for a long time, and that is that the Firekeeper has gotten up or moved from her spot against the wall. Last time we saw her like this is our first time we came here, and that indicates that we have placed all the Ashes of the Lord on the throne. So we'll talk to her and get some new dialogue.
The 5 lords sit their 5 thrones, all thanks to thee, most worthy of lords. Ashen One, with the lords as thy witness, bend thy knee afore the bonfire's coiled sword, and let the lords' embers acknowledge thee as their true heir, a true lord, fit to link the fire.
Now, I'm pretty sure we could heal the Dark Sigil right now, right from here, but I also think that we can do that later, and I'm not really confident that it affects the ending that you'd want to get either one way or the other. If you particularly want to just heal your dark signs, so for whatever fashion reasons, if your if your helmet has an open face piece, I could see doing it now for the cutscene to be a certain way, but again, not really relevant to this playthrough. So
Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee.
So we're just gonna essentially take her advice. Go to the bonfire, and we now have it saying kneel. Now, I'll bring up Elden Ring for a second here. It's funny that they're using that particular term because I don't see FromSoft doing anything without reason. Now, it says kneel here. I'm wondering if that's something that we'll see more in Elden Ring. I mean, we did get commanded to kneel in the opening trailer, so it's just an interesting connection. I'd be curious to see how that plays out. Hopefully you guys are getting this cutscene.
Noble lords of Cinder, the fire fades. And the lords go without thrones. Surrender your fires to the true heir. Let him grant death to the old gods of Lordran, deliverers of the first flame.
And now we get a location that we haven't seen since Dark Souls 1. And I do bring up Dark Souls 1 for a reason there. We got, during that cutscene, just really great animation. It reminds us of the animation from Dark Souls 1 where we see the Firekeeper cradling the flame. A lot of effort actually went into how that was done. And you see it repeated in this game. And we did get that message, Neil, and I'll bring up Elden Ring again. It'll be interesting to see if there's any being like a Firekeeper that operates in a way tied to rest points or bonfires, what have you, to see if that animation comes back of the cradling of the bonfire. It would be quite interesting. But we are actually able to light this bonfire, and if we rest at it, we see Flameless Shrine. It's a whole new area. Kiln of the First Flame, which is, again, from Dark Souls 1. It's really interesting to see the parallels from one to the other. If any of that will translate to Elden Ring, because FromSoft seems to recycle assets sometimes. So it'll just be interesting to see what the parallels are when it finally does come out. But from here, if you explore, there's really not much. I mean, everything is in ruins. You do the perimeter, you'll see that none of the openings that we see at the normal Firelink Shrine are currently open for us to take, so we can really only go up and out. I mean, even back there, you can't get up to the thrones too easily. Actually, what am I talking about? You can get up to them perfectly fine. And all of the names are mirrored here. It's almost like we're exactly where we were, just sometime else. Now if we come out here, curious. I mean, if you had gone through and this was the first thing that you saw, there'd be no context at all, and you'd just be completely blown away here, how everything's just crushed down. But if you went through the Dreadkeep area first, like we did, then this would be very, very familiar to you, and there's a reason for that. Now, this bonfire you won't be able to rest at it, it'll just teleport you somewhere else. Almost like how it's a string of teleportations. Now, right up that way is the final boss. That's what we've been slogging for. This other bonfire over here, I believe this one takes you to the Dread Keep. It actually tells you straight up it takes you to the Dread Keep. This bonfire will be our next normal bonfire. Now, we are still in the Kiln of the First Flame. We are now actually at the actual Kiln of the First Flame. So now this boss is open to us. If we head up there, we'll basically be soloing the boss, which, you know, we could do that. It's certainly something that we could do. However, I think it would be a lot more fun if we came back with perhaps someone else to do this. Perhaps just a random person, maybe a co-streamer. We'll see. That kind of leaves everything more open-ended. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to just go back to Firelink Shrine. Take a little break now that this is open for us, and if there's any movement here through the chat, then we'll have more of an idea for what to do. Until then, I think I'm going to conclude this one for now, and either, if time allows, then we'll come back and we'll finish the boss, or we'll do something else, perhaps another day. We'll see what happens. But for now, thank you anyone who's watched.